Hi guys, so this video will serve to explain our Essay 3 prompt. So right now we're looking at Blackboard, and so we need to go into our Unit 3 folder, and then the Wednesday 719 folder where we can find the Essay 3 materials right here. And of course the video will be here as soon as it's done. So you click on the prompt and I have it open right here. So let's get started. So we're going to have some assignments, of course, as usual, building up to our final draft. So we will do a Stanton reading discussion board, and then Glassbell, Cisneros, and Brady, and then Hidden Figures in our final draft. Okay, so a little note about Hidden Figures. You will be required to watch the movie. I have provided in the 726 folder a couple of different options for you to rent the movie. Okay, so there's two options here. I've provided the Amazon link, so when you click on it, it takes you straight to the rental page. You can click on more purchase options here, and notice that you can rent the movie in standard definition. It will ask you to create an account in order to do this if you don't already have an account. So that's one way to do it. Notice here you have 30 days to start watching, and then you have 48 hours to finish the movie once you've started it, if you do rent the movie. If you buy the movie, it's yours forever. So that's the Amazon option. The other option is to rent it at Redbox. So I've provided the Redbox link as well. So when you scroll down, you can click Rent at the box and then click Rent DVD or Blu-ray, whatever your preference is. And then you can find a Redbox that's closest to you and see if they have the film. You can also click Hold for Pickup if you prefer to do that. And when you do that, it will take you to a page in order to go ahead and pay right there online, and it will reserve the movie for you at your chosen Redbox. So those are your two options for renting the film. Okay. Now, to get back to our prompt here. Okay, so that's just one of our texts for our unit that you can use for your essay, and we will do a discussion board on the film responses to that. Okay, but there are several other readings for this unit. So let's get right in it here. So the background for this essay. Elizabeth Cady Stanton's Declaration of Sentiments and Resolutions outlines the platform for the women's rights movement. Susan Glassbell's Trifles is a play that argues for female solidarity and debuted in theaters just 4 years before women earned the right to vote with the ratification of the 19th Amendment. Her text explores the perception of Mr. and Mrs. Wright's marriage, as well as Mrs. Wright's individual happiness. She is the main suspect in her husband's murder, and the audience witnesses the interaction between the male investigators and their wives, and who ultimately solves the crime. Hidden Figures, it was released just this past year, but the setting is in the 1960s. It's a contemporary film about African American women who were paramount in NASA's early space program in the 1960s. It follows 3 different women, an engineer, programmer, and a physicist mathematician, and reveals the direct role they played in a successful space mission, stories that have been untold until now. Then Judy Brady's I Want a Wife outlines the duties of a traditional wife and argues that she would love to have a wife who follows these prescriptions. After all, who wouldn't, she says. Woman Hollering Creek by Sandra Cisneros delves into the troublesome and abusive relationship between husband and wife and echoes the urban legend of La Llorona, or crying woman, a woman who drowns her children in a river when she finds out that her husband has been unfaithful and then proceeds to drown herself. The ghost of La Llorona then mourns her loss by crying and looking for her children. Cisneros' story, however, revises this tale by adding an element of female solidarity and empowerment. The river in the story means something quite different than it does in the folk tale. Okay, so that is all 5 texts for our unit. So there's a lot of material here. Notice I put them in order chronologically on our prompt so you can kind of track the trajectory of when these texts were written and what's going on in their respective time periods. So for this assignment, write an essay which answers the question, has the single story of women changed since pre-suffrage, when Stanton was writing? Why or why not? Explore the traditional roles of women that are present in our unit's text and make an argument for how or if women's roles have changed and if or how women's rights have now been granted. Use at least 3 of our course readings as the foundation for your evidence, but you may also bring in current events to bolster your discussion of modern events. So some questions to help you brainstorm. Are discussions of women's roles and rights still relevant today? In what ways are women still fighting for equality, and are these efforts necessary? So these 3 questions here will kind of help you come up with some material, but really you're answering this main question here. Has the single story of women changed since pre-suffrage? And you're going to make an argument about that. And then you're going to use our readings here to support your thesis. Okay, so it's 4 to 6 pages. You need to use at least 3 readings. MLA, creative title, right? This is all the same as always. And of course, the most important thing, fully developed analysis of how the evidence supports each topic sentence and overall thesis statement. Okay, and then you're addressing a scholarly audience. All right, so this is the gist of Essay 3. We're going to be looking at women's roles and stereotypes and whether or not we think these roles have changed, or basically has our single story of women been revised since Elizabeth Cady Stanton was writing in 1848. So that is where we're going for this unit. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to email me. And then I just want to show you the schedule. Okay, we're here in the 719 folder. We will be doing a Stanton discussion board, and then we will be doing Glassbell, Cisneros, and Brady, and then we will be doing hidden figures. So just to kind of take a look at the discussion boards, they're pretty involved for this unit. I really wanted to create questions that will really help you to dig in, and as I mentioned, in every discussion board for this unit, you will see this statement. Remember that you can use anything from this DB in Essay 3. So really use this discussion board to critically reflect on the text and to think ahead to a potential argument or thesis for Essay 3. So whatever material you come up with in answering each of the questions for every author or text this unit, you are more than welcome to use and plug it straight into Essay 3 where you see fit. Okay, so the discussion boards are really meant to help you start to brainstorm and even draft Essay 3. So there's the Stanton one. I do want to warn you that the second one that we're doing for Glassbell, Cisneros, and Brady is very lengthy. So it's going to be due Sunday, 7/23. Remember that folder will become available the previous Wednesday. I would start reading right away when that folder becomes available to you, or even ahead of time, okay, because Trifles and Brady are both in your textbook. I would strongly recommend you read those 2 texts Wednesday, and then and even Women Hollering Creek Wednesday as well. I have some notes for you for Trifles. Trifles is the most abstract out of the 3. There's a lot of symbolism in the text, so these questions are kind of pre-reading questions to help you know what to focus on for the text. And then there's going to be 5 questions for each of the 3 texts that you need to answer for this discussion board. So just, a little fair warning ahead of time, be sure that you start this discussion board assignment very early. Don't start it on Sunday. You might not have enough time to finish everything. And remember, these discussion boards, like I keep mentioning, are going to be very useful for you for brainstorming for Essay 3. So hopefully these discussion board assignments will be super helpful for you. And that is essentially Unit 3 and Essay 3. So email me if you have any questions.